Hi, I'm Julie Webb of LitCentric.com. I want to thank you for your interest and your download and your purchase of The Dot. And thank you for listening to LitCentric Radio. The Dot has got to be one of my all-time favorite books. I remember a time when I was one of the few teachers that actually knew about this book, and of course I think all of us know about it now. That's my claim to fame. Anyways, with The Dot today, I want to show you one of my favorite lessons that I do with this book. And it's the lesson, of course, that I shared on our LitCentric Radio episode. So in this case, I have Vashti, the main character, in the center of our bridge chart. You don't have to draw Vashti if you don't want to, but you could, use your dot cam and trace her. You could just put a photo or a scan of the book up there. Any of that kind of works. And in this case, we're doing character analysis here, and we're analyzing for 4 different things. Now, all of these sticky notes come with your download, and you're going to have some that are these header cards that also have an icon that will help students to remember what that part of the chart is about. And then you have the smaller 3x3 sticky notes that will save you a lot of time and a lot of writing on this chart. So when I do this lesson with students, I will have the 4 header cards up, and we will have already read the book and done our text-dependent questions and enjoyed it, at least maybe on the first day. The next day, we'll come and take a look at this bridge chart. Now, our 4 categories are how Vashti thinks, what Vashti says, what Vashti does, and how Vashti feels. Okay? And I like to organize them in different colors because it's a lot easier for my students to navigate the chart later when I ask them to write about an experience and work on their writing task. They can interact with the chart and focus a little bit better because there's a lot of sticky notes and a lot of text on this chart. Now, when I work with students, as I said, I have the 4 category cards up, but I don't have these small sticky notes up yet because I want to work with my students to have them help me determine which ones belong where. And so we'll get our book out, and this gives us a chance, kind of like text-dependent questions, gives us a chance to dive back into the book for a real purpose. So in this case, I usually do start with how Vashti thinks. And some of these things my students will generate right away because, again, we've already read the book together. And some of these things I have to maybe help them. Let's go through and look at this part. What do you think she felt here? And we'll have those discussions. And then once in a while, if this is really challenging for my students, or maybe they lack the vocabulary or academic language to do this, I might supply some of them for them. And that just helps expand their vocabulary and gives them a reason to try to use those new words. In this case, an example of what Vashti thinks is she thought she couldn't draw. Kids usually pick up on that right away. Later, she thought she actually could do a little bit better than that framed piece that her teacher put up. By the end, she thought she could actually help others to develop these skills. Okay. Next, I like to move on to what Vashti says. And this part we definitely have to go into the book for because I want direct quotes and I don't expect my students to remember them exactly. Again, we're going to dive into the book, and we don't have to list these in any particular order. However my students recall them or however we locate them in the text, that's what we'll generate and put up there. But one of the reasons I like to do sticky notes and this many sticky notes on a chart like this is because imagine how long a bridge chart like this would take you if you had to handwrite every single one of these things in front of your students. They'd be very squirrely on the carpet. Trust me, I've done it in the past, and I wouldn't recommend it. In this case, some of the things Vashti says, I just can't draw. Or if I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. And for students to see how her language changes over the text, much like how her thinking changes over the text, is really important for us to show in this character. Then we move on to all the things that Vashti does in the book. She painted, she experimented, she tried new things, she jabbed her marker, all these things that she did throughout the text, again in no particular order, because we're not really retelling the story, we're investigating the character and her motivations. And finally, how she feels. Again, we can see how she's changed over time. She was sad, upset, and angry. Later, she became happy, inspired, and proud. So again, I like to show the changes of the character over time, and this chart and these discussions and the generation of language and ideas from the text help prepare my students for that writing task. I hope you try out this lesson. I'd love to see photos of it on social media. #LitCentricRadio. That would be super fun to see some of those online. And I hope you'll follow me. I'm at LitCentric basically everywhere you can follow someone. And I hope you have a great day at school.